What's up, Algebra 2, and welcome back to yet another exciting episode of Math with Medrano. Today we're going to be talking about the equation of a line. So go ahead and take out a paper and pencil and take a moment to copy this problem down. If you need to pause this video, go right ahead and do that because we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. So what we have here is a line, and we've got the matching table right to the right of that. So if we're trying to write an equation that matches, we're going to use the structure of slope-intercept form. And that looks like y equals mx plus b. Now, you guys may or may not have heard that before, but we're just going to do a quick refresher on that. So if you remember, the b in this equation is for your y-intercept, and the m is for your slope. Okay, now we can get both of these things from the graph and from the table, and I'm going to show you how. So if you remember, the y-intercept is when the x value, so this coordinate is 0, and then we've got some other number here, y. So if we look on our table, well, when x is 0, y is 4, so that is your y-intercept. Okay, and now if we're looking at a graph, the y-intercept is where the point crosses the y-axis, which is right here. So we're going to go ahead and pop that into our equation right now. And then we're going to go ahead and start finding our slope. So when you guys think of slope, I think a lot of us think rise over run. And another way to write that is change in y over change in x. So if I look at my graph, I see that to get from the point on the left to the point on the right, I have to go up 4, and I'm moving to the right 2. So my change in y is positive 4 because I'm moving up, and my change in x is 2 because I'm moving to the right. So my change in y over my change in x is going to be 4 over 2, 4 divided by 2, which is just 2. And I can get that from my table as well. So if I'm looking at the y values, if I go from 0 to 2, I go up 2, and if I keep going down that table, I'm going up 2 every time, so that's consistent. And if I look at my x column, I'm going up 1, up 1, up 1. And so my change in y over my change in x for my table is 2 over 1. 2 divided by 1 is just 2. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that one into my equation. So I've got y equals 2x plus 4. And this is just one possible equation for our graph and table. Okay, let's take a look at another example. So go ahead and take a minute and copy down this sketch along with the table, and we're going to use the same structure that we did before. So we're going to use slope-intercept form to write an equation that matches both of these. Okay, so we're going to use y equals mx plus b. Okay, again, our b is your y-intercept, or where the line crosses the y-axis, and that is right here. So it crosses at 0, 2, and I can find that on my table as well. So I know that my y-intercept is 2. Now, if I'm trying to count my slope, this line is different than the other one because this one is going down. So your change in y here, I'm going from 2 to 0 because I'm looking at the y values here. Okay, so my change in y here is negative 2 because I went down. And then my change in x is 8, and that's positive because I moved to the right. So my change in y over my change in x is negative 2 over 8. And if I simplify that, that comes down to negative 1/4. I can get that from the table as well. So if I look at my y values, to get from 4 to 3, I'm going down 1, 3 to 2, down 1, down 1, down 1. And that change is consistent. This is our change in y. Now, if I look at my x's, to get from negative 8 to negative 4, I'm actually going up 4. From negative 4 to 0, that's another 4 in the positive direction. 0 to 4 is plus 4, and so on. So from our table, our change in y over my change in x is negative 1/4, which is the same thing that we got from our graph. So an equation that would match this in slope-intercept form is y equals negative 1/4, that's where we're going to put our slope that we found, x plus 2, because that's our y-intercept. Okay, let's do one more. So here is your final practice. Give me an equation in slope-intercept form. Here is the structure, just in case you need it. Take a pause, and when you come back, the solution will be worked out for you. All right, welcome back. Okay, so you guys found an equation that matches this graph and this table, and here is the worked out solution. So your y-intercept is -6, and that's going to come over here in that part of the equation. And when you figure out your slope, you're going to get positive 2/3, which makes sense because your line is pointing up or going up in the positive direction. So an equation that matches this graph is y equals 2/3 x minus 6. Thanks.